Good day and welcome back to this week's episode of the BroBryceGardens channel. And today again I'm with my dad here, Tom. Say hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
And over here we've got the raspberry garden that Dad's been keeping up for many years. He says this is the last year that that we're doing raspberries over here at the Tomlinson house. Why is that?
Because they're too invasive.
They're invasive.
Yeah, they're growing out in my yard, over in my flower garden, underneath bushes, and
yep, you can see them
all over the place.
Right here in the yard, here. Yep, they're starting to come up like
everywhere.
Crazy. Now, when you're growing raspberries in your yard, do you really have to like fertilize them or feed them or anything?
You should. Should be fertilized.
Yeah.
And they need a lot of water. I water these every week when it's not raining.
Yeah.
But they do take some tending to, because you gotta stop all this stuff, and you know where they start growing everywhere.
Yeah, where they start invading the other space.
Yeah, just like blackberries, they are invasive.
Yeah, I will testify to that. I used to have them at my place, and I might let them come back this year. They try to come back every single year, and if you let them go, they'll take over the entire space, and actually to the point where you can't even harvest them because you can't get into them. But here you have them, for the most part, kind of contained to these posts. How did you make these little arbors?
I just used some old conduit that I had laying around and an old swing set.
Yeah, some old swing set pipes.
Yeah.
Just kind of drove them into the ground.
Drove them into the ground and strung wire between them.
Yeah, just ran some wires.
Yeah, and I kind of weaved the plants into the wire to keep them contained.
Kind of lead them in.
Yeah, sort of like this. Just lead them in there and wrap them around one another. Helps keep the main bushes contained.
Now, do you trim these back?
Yeah, every year. I trim them back to about 3 feet. As you can see by right here, these are trimmed back about 3 feet. Most of them were.
And and what does that do for them?
It just gives them more strength when they come back the next year, because if you don't trim them back, you got plants growing up to here and they'll fall over and they get everywhere. Once the tips of them touch the ground, it's a grower.
Yeah, that's true. They run out these runners, and as soon as it hits the ground, it takes root, and now you got a new plant, or you got a whole new cluster of plants sometimes.
Yeah.
In my case, wherever they touch the ground, you can count on 5 to 8 new plants coming up out of that spot.
In that one spot.
Yep. Well, anyway, so when these start yielding, come summertime, what are they? How much do they yield usually? Like these 2 rows, how much does that yield in a week's time?
I'll get anywhere from 3 to 6 baskets off of these.
Like quarts?
A day. They're pint baskets.
Okay.
And I'll get 3 to 6 of them off of each one of these every day.
Wow.
So
off of each row?
Each row. No,
wow.
Off of both rows.
Oh, off of 2 rows. Okay.
Yeah. Now
wow.
these rows are only about 10 feet long, and well, you can see how wide they are, but it's phenomenal what they do. They put out a lot of berries.
See, and they're pretty easy, I will say. You know, from my own experience, they're pretty easy. And you know me, I'm not like I got a brown thumb. Anything that survives me can survive the apocalypse, I think. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope that you'll click subscribe, and we'll get back with you next week. See you then.